Now, 1.3 concept, writing a C program. Now, let us write our first C program. Already, we have discussed all the basics. Now, you learned what is the human program and computer program, what are the differences, what are the strengths and weaknesses of a computer. Subsequently, you learned what is the function-oriented programming approach. This knowledge is essential prerequisite for every student who wants to learn C language or any language. These are the pure basics. Now, with this background, let us write a simple C program. The simple C program is this. This writes a string. String means a set of characters. It writes hello C. Now, if you understand the code in this program line wise, then you can understand all the elements. Program may be simple or bigger. Concepts are same. So, if you understand all the elements in the program, for any big program, the same explanation is equally applicable. Here, a small program means fewer instructions are there. In this only you see the body of the main, only one instruction is there. If it is a big program, then number of instructions are more. That is the difference. But the basic structure of every C program is one and same. So, this is the first line. First line, generally, we start with a comment. Comment is like a heading of the chapter. Why you write heading, you know that. Now, here, comment means this starts with a slash and star, ends with star and slash. Whatever characters or words you write between these delimiters, that is called comment. Delimiter means delimiter tells where one comment starts and where one comment ends. Already I told you, computer is a brainless machine. It is like a blind man. If you have to give an instruction to a blind man, if you have to give a direction to a blind man, how meticulously you have to give direction? In the same manner, you have to instruct to the computer. Here, you have to tell the computer, this is the comment. How can you tell? Whenever a slash and star is started, then a comment is started. Whenever it encounters a star and slash, comment ends. These are called, generally these are called delimiters. So, delimiter means always you remember that delimiters tell where one element begins and where that element ends. So, these are the delimiters for a comment. Now, writing comments in a program is a matter of convention. Actually, if you remove this comment also, the program works and it gives the same result. Actually, if you write comments, the program readability is improved. Here, I tell you, here 20 pages chapter. Here, one page earmarked for the index, heading and index. What is the purpose of this index, you know? Actually, if there are 20 chapters, I am earmarking 20 pages for this. If I remove that also, the content in the chapters are same. But what is the use of this page? You know that. That is called readability. It improves understandability or other whatever concept you want, you directly go without searching all the concepts and all that. Here, in the same way, comment serves the same purpose. So, comments are for human reader. It improves the readability. If you remove the comment also, it gives the same result. Already I told you. So, readability is one of the essential characteristics of the program. So, if you write comment, before entering into the program, one can understand what is the task of the program. So, if I write the content in this page, first page like this, without reading all the concepts, you can know which concepts are there, in which page, which concept is there, easily know. That characteristic is called readability. Every program should be highly readable. That is very essential character, one of the essential characteristics of the programs. So, for this purpose, we write comment. These are the delimiters. So, here I have to explain little more about the comment. So where we have to write comment, not only at the top. For every program, at the top we write comment, and not only at the top, and throughout the program also, wherever it is required, we write comment. Then you may get a doubt. Being a beginner, you get a doubt, where should I write comment elsewhere? Then here I have to give an example. Suppose this is a highway. On this highway, you are traveling. Then you can find some signal boards put by the authority like this and all that. Where they put boards, just think. Now, if you are traveling on a highway, you can find several signal boards on the highway. Where they put boards, what matter they write? Steep curve ahead, accident zone ahead, and a bridge ahead. Like boards you can find. That means where they write, where things are not obvious, then they write, they put boards. Now we see here steep curve ahead, then they put a board here. So things are not obvious until unless you go here, you cannot know that there is a steep curve. Suppose some driver driving his car at 100 kilometers speed. So once he reaches here without noticing, he may meet with an accident. That's why they put a board here, steep curve ahead. Then driver automatically becomes alert and reduces his speed. Suppose here is a accident zone, then they put accident zone ahead. Then drivers will be careful. Here is a bridge ahead, and drivers will make drivers be alert in the particular situation. So where they are putting the board, where things are not obvious, there in all such places they are putting the board. Understand? Here the same principle you can follow. Where things are not obvious, suppose from here, if you see the program, what is the task of the program, you cannot know. So here you have to write. And somewhere also you should write comment, where things are not obvious. Actually, code tells what it is doing, but comment tells why it is doing or how it is doing. Sometimes the reader cannot understand why you have written that code or how it is solving the issue. So in such case, you can write comment like this. In order to improve the readability, this comment explains to the reader why you are doing that or how we are doing that. So where exactly it is required, then only you have to write comment. Unnecessary comments you should not write. That means in real life, you should not make unnecessary comments. If you make unnecessary comments, people never give value to your comments. In the same way, in programming also, you should not write unnecessary comments. If you write unnecessary comments, then unnecessarily disturbs the reader. That's why where comment is required, there only you have to write comment. Understand? So that is the right comment. There is a principle, 3 R's of comment. That is right comment, right form, and right place. Right comment, where things are not obvious, then you have to write comment. That is the right comment. Right form, comments need not be in big sentences and you need not follow grammar rules and all that. Just you should indicate what it is. So simple, precise sentences you can write. That is right comment, right form, and right place where you have to put. Suppose this example, again we take steep curve ahead. Where you put board? If you put board here, there is no use. If you put board here, there is no use. You have to put board around 50 meters or 100 meters ahead. It alerts the driver and change his behavior. Understand? If it is put 1 kilometer before, there is no use. So here you understand there is an appropriate place for this. There only you have to put the board. In the same way, for everything there is an appropriate place, and there you have to put the comment. Here, if you have to comment about this statement, here you have to put your comment, or one line before you can put the comment. After that, if you put comment, there is no use at all. So the same principle, that is right comment, a right form, and right place you have to make. So in every program, as a matter of convention, you have to put comment on the top, and throughout the program also, wherever comment is required, there you can make a comment. Comments already I told you, comments as a matter of convention. You must know the difference between rule and convention. Rule, actually, from a real life example, I tell you, rule. There is a one-way traffic. You must follow the rule. The authorities declared a road is one-way traffic. You should not go against it. That is violating rule. You are penalized. And what is convention? Use footpath. If you are a right citizen, use footpath. That is a convention. So, if you go across the road, a policeman cannot penalize. That is, if you violate conventions, no, you are not penalized. But if you violate rules, you are penalized. The same principles are applied. Now here you see, here I have written a semicolon. That is the rule. Here I didn't write the semicolon. That is the rule. If I violate that, the compiler does not compile the program and gives error report. Here, if I don't write this comment also, compiler does not bother. It is a convention. If you write comment, your program readability is improved. That's why this is not the compiler's job. If you write comments, if you follow other conventions also, I am going to explain later contextually. Follow conventions, you are a good programmer and your program is a good program. Understand? This is not the business of compiler. Compiler has no role to comply on implementation of conventions. So it always bothers about implementation of rules. Strictly, you should follow the rules. So that is the difference between convention and rule. Convention, understand that convention is not a rule, but everybody give respect to that. Everybody, just one example I tell you. If you go to hotel, first you take tiffin, thereafter you take coffee or tea. Why can't you take coffee or tea first? Who told you? First you have to take tiffin, thereafter you have to take tea or coffee. It's a convention. Actually, convention is not a rule. Nobody tells you, first you have to take tiffin, thereafter you have to take tea or coffee. But you follow that. As a matter of convention, entire community follows. In the same way, in the programming world also, several conventions are there. If you adopt those conventions, if you follow those conventions, then your program, you are a good programmer and your program will be a good program. Otherwise, you are underestimated. Your program is not a good program. It may give result. It may give result. But like a bad behavior in real life world, then your programming behavior is considered as bad. That's why always follow conventions. Several conventions, contextually I will explain. You remember that and strictly follow. And comments improves the readability. In every program, you write comments using the delimiters. Not only here at the top, and you can write comments throughout the program wherever exactly it is required. That means where things are not obvious, there you have to write comment. So that is all about comments. Now, next, let us come to third line. After that, I will explain. Third line, already I showed it to you. Main. Main is a manager. Main is a function. Like a manager function. You cannot write any C program without main function. Already I have given some examples like painting your house, cleaning your house, constructing your house. Every time I was writing you means you are the chief, you are the coordinator, you are the manager of your job. Here, in the same manner, main, without main function, you cannot write any C program. That always you remember, and your program should start with main. Before that, why do you write? If you don't write void in compilation, after compilation, you get some warning message. Warning message, every function should return a value. Actually, about void, you can learn in the forthcoming chapters, not now, this is not the place. But if you understand one thing, if you don't write void, you get warning message. Actually, here I told you already. If you violate any syntax rule, for example, if you don't write this one, if you write a semicolon here, you get an error message, your program never be compiled. As far as warnings are concerned, warning messages, your compiler releases warning messages also, your program will be compiled. But they don't take any linear opinion on the warnings. Because, like in real life, suppose somebody warns you in particular situation. Why others will warn you? Your behavior is abnormal, people will warn you. You are smoking in a public place, people will warn you. If you talk loudly in the public place, they may warn you. If you use the lift and if you don't close the door, people may warn you. That means your behavior is not normal. If it is abnormal, you are warnable. People may warn you. In the same way, certain programming behavior is there. Every time you have to understand what is the programming behavior and you have to behave properly. So if you don't behave like that, then system will warn you. If you are a good programmer, you make a probe why warning message has come. Then you have to rectify that. Then only you will become a good programmer. In real life, if people warns you that something goes wrong, your behavior is something wrong, understand. If you are a right citizen, you rectify it. In the same way, programs also you get warning messages. You have to probe the reason why warning message has come and all that. You should not take any lenient view towards warnings. Here, that much only I can explain. If you don't write void before main, you get a warning stating that every function should return a value. That's why you write void main. Along with the main, you write a qualifier, a prefix. Void main you write. Okay. Actually, what is the specialty of the main? Main is a manager. Without manager, there will be no office. In the same way, without main function, there will be no C program. Understand? And the program execution starts from the main. So main is having two specialties. One is without main, there will be no C program. That is number one. Number two is program execution starts from the main. That two, it is like an entry point of the program. Those are only two specialties. And main is like any other function which I am going to explain to you. Understand? So, without manager, there will be no office. That is like, but manager is also like any other employee. But he the head of the office, he coordinates all the people. Here also the main status is like that. You understand that main function is like a manager of a program. Depending on the task of the program, it calls different other functions. That you understand. And every time you write void main, if you write, you don't receive any warning from the system. Thereafter, that is the third line and fourth line, beginning of the program. For every program, there is a beginning. It is indicated by this, and corresponding ending of the program. Wherever there is a beginning, there will be ending, and you have to write with a indentation in the same line like this. Then it makes the program more readable. Understand? This is called body of the main or body of the function. This is like main's office. Main is the manager, and this is its office. Now, once a task is entrusted, main calls the corresponding list. Suppose whenever you are there, you and you want to get your house shifted, then what you are doing? Now you have to get your house shifted. Then what you are doing? You call packer, you call lifter, you call mover. This is your modus operandi. So one task is, you have a task. The task is shifting the house. Then you call the corresponding specialist, packer, lifter, mover. In the same way, a main is in every program, main is entrusted a task like this. Then it calls the required specialist. Then main called a required specialist. That is printf. It is like a painter. It is a writer. Okay. Now This is the beginning of the program. This is the ending of the program. This is the body of the body of the program. Here, main calls all the functions. They perform their job. They make their contribution. Ultimately, the task is performed. So, 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code I explained. And now, the crucial line, printf. Printf is a function. Printf is a core function in every Java, every C program. Actually, it is the writer. It is the writer means, actually, if you have to write anything on the monitor screen, you have to take the recourse of the printf function. So, there is a syntax. Syntax means grammar. So, computer language also is having a grammar. Those are called syntax rules. Human language is having a grammar, that is a grammar rules. In the same way, computer language, every computer language is having certain syntax rules, grammar rules, those are called syntax rules. So, printf, main called printf, and how to follow certain grammar. Now, what is your task? You have to get some string, a set of characters to be written on the monitor screen. Now you have to provide it with the proper delimiters. Now what string, what set of characters you are expecting to be written on the monitor screen? These are the delimiters. Already I told you. Now just like that, you cannot provide the string to printf. You have to provide proper delimiters where string starts, where string ends. The here delimiters are double quote. A double quote is the delimiter, starting delimiter, and ending delimiter is another double quote. So, these are the delimiters of a string. These are the delimiters of a comment. In this way, several delimiters I am going to introduce contextually, just to remember. So, you want to provide a string to that, and you provide the with the delimiters, but the delimiters indicate the compiler where string starts, where string ends. But these double quotes are not printed in the output. Only hello C will be printed. That is printf. This is printf. Printf, always you understand, printf is our writer. So whatever data you want to write on the monitor screen, that data, by calling printf only, you can get it written on the monitor screen. So now you have to understand, and you have to use the same words only. Main called printf and entrusted the string to that, and when this program is compiled and executed, then hello C is printed on the monitor screen. So 5 lines of the code I explained, and I have to explain one more line of code. So far, I explained 5 lines of code, the program, and I have yet to explain the second line. Here, we are using printf function. Printf function, in order to avail printf function, you have to include stdio.h. In order to understand that, you should go to the background. Behind the scenes, you have to study certain concepts, then only you can understand. Actually, first let us consider a real life example. In real life, if you have to have comfortable living, we require several services. As you know, we require water, electricity, roads, transport, transport, education, like many services every day we require in order to have comfortable living. But if you consider, many of these services are provided by the government. Government provides roads, government provides security, electricity, drainage, water, fire service, etc. Many services are provided by the government. Those services you can call as public services. And other services also we require. Wherever government does not provide services, or otherwise the services provided by the government are not up to your requirement, according to your requirement, you engage on your own. Suppose your servant maid is not provided by the government. Laundry service is not provided by the government. Your driver may not be provided by the government. So, which services are not provided by the government, you engage them on your own. Those services you can call as private services. So, in order to have comfortable living in the real world, we require two types of services. One group of services are called public services. Second group of services are called private services. This you know. Now, the same strategy is applied here. Actually, if you write program, this is a simple program. We write a bigger program. We perform several operations depending on the task of the program. Now, for that, many operations you have to perform. Operations mean just for understanding. For example, you have to perform, you have to calculate square root. You have to calculate power. You have to calculate sine, cos, tan, hypotenuse. Like that, many calculations you have to make. And C language developers identified such type of operations and provided ready-made functions for them. Suppose you have to calculate square root of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1,23,456. You have to calculate square root as part of your program. Then this square root sqrt, one ready-made function is provided by the language. Language developers provided a function, ready-made function. Then, if you want to calculate square root of any number, any small number or big number, you give square root and you give the value, it returns the square root of this value. Any number you give, then it returns the square root of that. So, this is a ready-made function. Suppose you have to calculate the power of 12,345 to the power of 67. Then this is POW function is there. POW. The names, already I told you, the names are indicative what it is doing. So this is a ready-made function. Then you just for this, if you have to calculate power and a lot of calculations you have to make, you may come to a mistake. If you have to find out a square root and mathematically also it is not so easy. Finding square root is not so easy, but C language provides this type of hundreds of ready-made functions in order to make our programming job so simple. Just call and use, like how we take public services in real life. Suppose you want some security, you got some security problem, then you call 100, police people will come. If you call 108, then ambulance will come. Like that. Now, part of the program, if you have to calculate square root, your main calls square root and give the required value as the argument. Then it returns square root. Just call, how you call a policeman, how you call an ambulance service, like that main calls. In the same way, somewhere you have to calculate power. Then it calls the POW function and give the two arguments, base and exponent. Then two arguments, this is 12,345 to the power of 67. Any big number you give, it can calculate and returns within a fraction of a second. So, this type of many functions, many ready-made functions are developed by C language, and we can call them and use. Here, printf is one of such functions. Suppose if we have to write anything on the monitor screen, suppose printf, you want to write your name, Mohan, let us say, then give Mohan. It writes Mohan on the monitor screen. This type of hundreds, not in dozens, hundreds of functions, ready-made functions are created by the C language and provided to us for the sake of developing C programs very easily. Understand? Here one problem is there. What is that problem? This type of hundreds of functions are provided to us. Here, if we want a particular function, we have to search hundreds of functions. Hundreds of functions. You have to waste a lot of time. You do not know what is its name, and you have to search a lot and you waste a lot of time. That's why they made a arrangement like in library. Suppose in your college library there are 10,000 books. What they do? Suppose 10,000 books are dumped there, you cannot find any particular book, whatever you require. So they organize books, they classify books like computer science, mechanical, civil, and different engineerings and all that. They organize them in different shelves. There is a index system. By then easily whatever book you want and all that, in a few minutes you are able to find out. In the same manner, the same arrangement they made, that is called library. Here, this is C language. Whatever are the core elements of C language, they put here. And these ready-made functions, they put in a different segment, that is called standard C library. C library. In this library, all these hundreds of functions they stored. And here, the same library arrangement they made. This is, each shelf is named as stdio.h, conio.h, string.h, math.h, time.h. Like that, around 20 header files they created. Why it is called, these are called header files. At the head of the program they write, and it is a indicative that character H represents header file. Now you see, these are different shelves. Each shelf is having a set of functions. stdio.h. std means standard, I input, O output. Standard input device is keyboard. Standard output device is monitor screen. Standard input output stream oriented functions, that is standard input keyboard and monitor screen oriented functions are stored here. Around 50 functions are here. Conio.h, conio console. Console means again keyboard and monitor screen. And which functions are not covered by these are here. These are stored here. String.h. String means, already I told you, a set of characters. It is nothing but text. String oriented functions are stored here. Math.h. Already introduced. Pow, square root, sine, cos, tan, etc. are mathematical functions. All are stored here. Time.h. Time oriented functions. If you go to any shop, the current time is printed. That actually it does not type, automatically it is printed. That is like a time, current time, that is a time oriented function. In this way, thousands of hundreds of functions they classified into 20 groups and stored in the respective libraries. Like how the books are stored in our college library, the same strategy they followed. So this is C language, this is standard C library. One thing you must remember, standard C library is not part of the C language. C language is separate and standard C library is separate. Strategically, they made it like that because here the core elements are there. These elements are not expanded much because they don't add many elements here. But you know versions. For every language, you know version. So version to version, they add so many functions in the library. Every time they enrich library. That means they go on adding new functions and modify existing functions and all that. That's why library is very fastly expandable. That's why versions will come. Version means every version they are adding new features. So this also grows, but in a arithmetic progression it grows. It in a geometric progression it grows. Then you understand that these functions are meant for C language only, but this is separated from the language. This is language, this is library. This is library, and that point you have to understand. Now, where is our printf function? Printf function is output device oriented function, stdio.h. So, our printf function is here. So, then if you want a printf function, what should you do? You have to link up. You have to link up like this. If you link up like this only, then all these functions, there are around 50 functions, all 50 functions are waiting at your doorstep, at your program. Then whatever functions out of 50 you can call here. You can call, then that function you can use in your program. That is the strategy what C developers have developed. Understand? Now, that's why here, whatever function you require and all that, then the corresponding header file to include stdio.h. That's why all these. Suppose in your program, let us say, you have to use mathematical function like square root. Square root 12 to the power of square root 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then what should you do? Include math.h. So then whenever this program is compiled and all that, this library is included in our thing. It will be part of our program. So this process is called linking. So library is here, your program is here. So your program is linked with the library, and that process is called linking. So whatever ready-made functions you are using, then the corresponding header file you have to include. Here printf we have used, that's why stdio.h you are including. Suppose pow square root if you use, it is a mathematical function. So where is pow function? Pow function is in this library. So this header file you have to include math.h. These are the complete code-wise details. And here one more thing you understand. In our program, I have given line numbers like this, but don't type the line numbers. Line numbers, for the sake of explanation, I have given. The line numbers are not part of the program. If you type the line numbers, you get error. Understand? You strictly follow this thing, and all the code. This is case sensitive language. Case sensitive language means uppercase and lowercase are entirely different. So suppose main is there. If you write in uppercase, it cannot recognize and error will come. So you follow the same thing. Most elements are in lowercase. You write what user defined. Suppose you see this for the sake of user we write. For the sake of reader we write. You can use uppercase and all that. But language oriented elements you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All these elements are in lowercase. So most elements in C language are in lowercase. Whenever we use uppercase, then I'll let you know. Then on those elements only you can write in uppercase. But remaining all, just this principle you remember. C language is a case sensitive language. And always we have to use lowercase. And in particular cases where uppercase is allowed, then I let you know. Then only you have to write. And one more thing, strictly you have to follow the syntax rules. Already I told you how you follow grammar rules in human language. Here also. Here printf. You see, printf is an instruction. After every instruction, you must write a semicolon. Semicolon is like a full stop in the human language. This is called preprocessor directive, and somewhere later I explain. After preprocessor directive, you should not write any semicolon here. That you remember. If you write a semicolon here, it leads to error. If you don't write a semicolon here, error will come. So that these grammar rules you should strictly follow by observe. If you make a simple mistake also, then your program is not compiled and you get error report. Then that's why from the beginning, while writing code, carefully observe and remember, once you write and all that, normally never forget. So carefully observe and case sensitivity, always you observe. Uppercase and lower case are different. So most elements are in lower case. That also you have to remember. This is all line-wise explanation. So now after this line-wise explanation, now we have to uh, compile and execute the program. So that I will explain to you.